Welcome everybody to the Fall On with KS and Company. I'm Dave Caper and I'm here with my buddy Angelo Ross. How's it going, Angelo?
Real good, Dave. How you?
Good. I see you have your beverage over there. As we were getting ready to sign on.
I'm having a Long Trail Lager.
Long Trail
I'm having
Lager.
a
That's a
super
you didn't go to yeah
super
you
out of
didn't go to
focus.
Vermont to get that, did you?
Negative. They sent it here.
Okay, I was just
They sent them
all
down
right.
for us.
I was wondering if you had to quarantine 2 weeks before you went up to get it. Come down.
No, they mailed them. They brought them in a truck.
Nice.
Yep.
So. Hey, on today's podcast, we've been having some talks and on the cast and off of, and talking about some things, and I just had some thoughts on learning and being a good learner, and you with your big education background and all that, and being a teacher for so many years. When we look at success in our exams, or we just look at successful people, we look at people that are able to reach a real high level. I really think that they have to along the way, or they had to the whole time, be able to really become or be a good learner, that they're able to participate in their own experience and learn from it or learn from others. Without that, I mean, even if it's the physical part, like we watch a lot of athletes become really great and we wonder why some can't. It's like they still have to be able to learn from that intrinsic feedback they're getting, whether it be skiing or snowboarding. And I'm just wondering your thoughts on, with all your background, not just with us ski teaching, but being an educator in the school systems, how much did you see that kids struggled, or anybody struggled, even other teachers, with becoming a good learner? Were they just stuck in like, this is what I have, and did you see different success levels to that?
I saw different definitions of the word struggle, or different. No, that's right. I saw different definitions of the word struggle. I guess one version of struggle is you really try hard. That's struggle, right? And you maybe to no avail. Like you try hard and it's really difficult and you're not making much progress. That's a struggle. And then I in public ed, I would see a lot of students, a lot of kids who wouldn't make any effort at all and obviously not do well. When I would talk about administration with those kids, um, the administration, the verbiage was, well, he's really struggling. And I guess struggling in a broader sense, struggling to understand why it's important. You know what I mean? Struggling to deal with what's going on at school when stuff at home is so bad. Like I get that, but I think I felt of it. It was more like, are you making effort toward this goal? And in my class, when the answer was no, I didn't see that as struggling, whether or not their life was difficult. In the ski world, I guess particularly in the exam world, it's definitely not as high stakes as what some kids in our country experience in their home lives, which are very difficult. It's a uh, totally different setting. Recreation versus education, and in some cases, like recreation versus pure survival. Um, yeah, rough, hard. Um, but in the world of ski exams and training for exams and whatnot, I guess um, the ones who work hard do better. You know, I cut to the chase. I see a lot of people dip a toe. They say, I want to get level 2, I want to get level 3,
Yeah.
but they don't really work for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's because you see some people work really hard or put in time, and not get ahead. Then you see some people put in a lot of time and just skyrocket.
Mhm.
And then, like you said, some dip a toe. It's like, I really want this, but what do they do? And that's my thing of, do they really want to learn?
Mhm.
I mean, for me, as coming through, it was, it's like training. You hear people go, I don't feel like going to training. I just want to go skiing. And I don't know if it was just, I was lucky when I first came in the organization. I came in to teach skiing. Training was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, training should be fun. It should be fun to go out and get better. And I mean, yeah, doing wedge turns for a whole 2 hours is not too much fun. And I don't think we did a lot of that. We did some as we were prepping for certain things, but I think being full-time helped. I know the part-timers on the weekend, when they only have 2 days and then they're gone 5, and the rest of us are there 5 to 7 days a week skiing. We don't mind taking that extra hour and just wedge turn or stand in the learning center. But that still can be fun. I mean, I don't know. I think that, but I think that's a big part of success, of trying to figure out how you're going to get the information, how you're going to train, how you're going to work. You know, are you willing to put the time in on the things you need to put the time in? You know, I think sometimes they think so hard for our, especially our level 2, that yeah, the bumps are important. They got to ski through black terrain. They got to be able to do some easy black diamond stuff on the groom stuff, and they focus on the short turns, and then they kind of let some of the skill level skiing go, the versatility, agility, where that versatility, agility tasks, those things can really help their skiing. It's not, those aren't, I mean, we joke about them on being stupid human tricks and that, which we know that old deputy dog Chris Erickson gets mad at us when we call him those. But we're going to keep calling those just because we know it gets him riled up, which is, it's great to get deputy dog riled up. If we get him riled up too much, he'll come back to do a whole podcast on those are not stupid human tricks. But I think it's a, you know, as we've been talking a lot about some of the things we wanted to do here in the podcast, it just hit me this last week that I think, you know, if people start with, you know, how do they learn? And I don't mean what mode, but more, you know, is it something that they have to talk to others, or do they need to read about stuff? You know, where is it they need it, or maybe it's just they need that mentor to go out with, because some of us do learn in that different way and get it from somebody else, from a trainer, better than we do a book. But I think if they get too locked into just one mode, you know, just reading the books, or just going skiing with the crew, or just working on the same thing over and over, they're not going to get there. I mean, they still need that variety to get through. Because like when we start looking at things at the exam, like what were the, I mean, we all know we were all nervous going into exams. I mean, like you and I've talked, you said, you know, nervous just going to training, which absolutely, it's probably, I know Jebber said it, that, you know, sometimes that's the hardest event to do when you're a group leader, when you're standing in front of a bunch of other examiners leading a group at training. And it's, you know, any one of them going to call you out at any second. So, you know, we know there's nerves there. There's definitely nerves going to my exams, but were there certain parts of the exam, like was it the skiing, was it the teaching, was it technical pieces, MA, or was it just the overall putting the package together for you?
I think for me, like I don't get nervous until afterward. Like I would, you know what I mean? Like I maybe it's just,
did I do that right?
Maybe, yeah, maybe just dumb. You know, like after you do it, you can't undo it. Yeah. So I would be cool, and then I'd do my bit. You know, either it was a run or it was a teaching segment or whatever, MA, or and then afterward, I'm like start shaking afterward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did get stung at my first ETS. And so, yeah, I mean, like going into the second attempt at ETS, I was definitely, because I'll tell you, at first ETS, I left something out. Matter of fact, I think you were one of the scorers. I think you and Pete Howard were the scoring pair.
Correct.
1,000 steps was the task, and I didn't mention anything about turning the ski during the task. And Pete came over afterward, and he was like, you know, I had to ding you for that pretty hard, and it just it didn't come out of my mouth. Like I know you have to turn your feet, I just didn't say it. So I totally get why you did it. But that was the first attempt, and then going into the second attempt, I was like, oh shit, don't forget to say something again. and I kind of wanted to get 1,000 steps again, but I didn't teach that.
You wanted to fix that one from the first try.
I'd unfinished business with that. But, so Pete, that getting stung the first time made me nervous going into the second attempt.
Yeah, I mean, I think nerves just going. I mean, any evaluation, I have kind of those butterflies of like, okay, you know, how am I going to perform that day? How am I going to feel when I get up? You know, what tasks are we going to have? You know, going into an exam, you kind of know. Going into a tryout, a lot of times, some of the tryouts now, they know some of the stuff going in pretty vivid. I know when I went to my dev team in ETS, it was very cloudy. It was like you found out that morning. Maybe you got a list of you'll be doing these things, and we'll tell you the order later, and just show up for your group and be ready when they tell you. So it's definitely I think the tryouts, especially the last few years, have been much more structured. Groups have known ahead of time coming in. A lot of like you guys coming in the last couple times knew all the tasks, but I didn't have one thing I was nervous about. It was more, I'd say more the when I was going to have to teach. That was really the thing I worried about. Like in the group, did I have to go first, second? Because I don't like going first or second. I like going towards the end. I like kind of hanging out, listening to what's going on, watch what's going on, and versus starting the show. I don't know. It seems, for me, it gets a little flow going, do a little skiing. Some people love to jump out, but I think if anybody goes to an exam and says they don't have any nerves, they're kind of lying.
I like to go.
Or way too overconfident.
Yeah, or don't know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
I like to go toward the end of the teaching because I like to watch all the other people in my group ski because you're doing MA on them from the beginning of the day, and then by the time you find out what your teaching bit is, you've kind of figured everybody's skiing out, so you can give really good feedback, and that's real cool. You talked about fog. Did I ever tell the story about my dev team tryout when it was super foggy? I think it was at Mount Snow. Oh my God, the scoring pair was Murmur and Terry, and you're like such an ethereal scoring pair, right? Like if there's like, in my experience, a mathematical logistical group of scorers, Terry and Murmur are on the opposite end of that. You know what I mean? And I love them both, and I love skiing with them both, and I learn a lot from both of them, obviously. But they're so funny together as a scoring pair, right? So we go up the lift, and it was like it was so foggy, like you literally couldn't see the chair in front of you on the ride up. We get to the top, and it's like 8 inches of slop, and the task was Wedge Christie. And we're like, you got to be kidding me. So Terry's like, let's go down a bit and we'll see if it clears. So it's not going to clear up, man. It was like that at the lot. So we ski down a little bit, and we finally have to stop and do these Wedge Christies, right? Because we're just going to run out of hill. And he gives a description. Murmur said a little something, and somebody finally in the group had the guts to say, like, Terry, how are you going to see us? And everybody like looked at him, like everybody's head turned. Like we got to know the secret. And he goes, "We'll just listen."
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Oh God, that is funny. I think it was an Eastern team tryout. We had some weather like that. Sue Kramer skied off. I think it was at Stowe, I believe, in like a hayride. She skied off, and the wind came up about 40 miles an hour, and she disappeared into this white abyss. And we had no idea if she disappeared. She was still on the mountain, still in Vermont. She could have blew away and been in Kansas or something. It was like just totally disappeared from the group. We're like, I don't know if the scorer saw her. We didn't see anything. It was gone. So that always seems to happen. There's always seems to be, and I know when I was a candidate, and I know the candidates now, all the members, they're like, it's like they order this weather. Yep. I mean, it either snows or it rains or it freezes up after a rain or something happens. And that's just the winter. Yep. Welcome to the East. Yep. And the ever-changing weather and snow.
It's a factor too. But back to your topic, which is learning.
as we go astray.
We digressed. Shockingly, we digressed.
Just a little bit.
Learning. You have to want to. You have to want to. The motivation's got to be intrinsic. There's a difference between saying you want a silver or a gold pin and actually wanting to learn the skills necessary to earn the silver or gold pin. I'd get kids in school all the time, and what grade do you want? I want an A. Well, do you want to do the work to get the A and actually like know the stuff that comes with the A? And they're like, nah, not really. You know what I mean? They just wanted me to put an A on their report card. and I think a lot of people approach certification exams like that. Well, I'm going to get my level 2, but then at 3:30 or 4 o'clock, they're at APRE already. And learning involves intrinsic motivation. It involves letting go of your ego, because you're going to get knocked down a peg. You're going to struggle to learn. Your performance is going to go down. Like we all know the sports psychology of performance. When you're integrating new movements into your muscle memory, your performance drops for X number of repetitions until it goes back up higher than it was before. But so you have to let go of your ego when you're going to learn. You have to struggle. Like you have to change habits in order to learn. And there are years where it's like, okay, I don't have a tryout or anything that's really going on, so I'm going to ski a lot and I'm going to have fun, but I'm going to go hang out and enjoy a little bit of après this year because I'm not really
Yeah.
focused on much. But then other years, tryout year or an exam year, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm tired. I taught mountain adventure crew all day, or it was called junior ski back in my day. I taught junior ski all day. I'm tired. Those kids whooped on me, but we got to go out. We're going out for an hour and a half to do, back in the day, we thought white pass turns was the answer to all of our prayers. So, but you go out,
Yeah.
you have to change your habits and integrate new patterns into your ski day, into your life, so that you can integrate new movement patterns into your performance until you own them, and then you go to the exam. And if you've trained well and you've looked at the curriculum and you understand why you're there and you've built that stuff in your muscle memory, both skiing, snowboarding, and teaching, coaching, you have muscle memory coaching. You go into automatic mode with words sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And if you've done all those pieces, the exam that should be relatively easy at that point.
So with the whole thing of MA and being a real tough thing for folks to do, watching videos and watching things on YouTube and there's a lot out there that we didn't have when I was going through. I wished I had that, and I think that as you say, it's time's an issue, but if they can pick certain things and take some time just to look at what's out there video wise, so they say, well, I don't have a lot of time in the hill. Well, if they can get on YouTube, they can do a lot of movement assessment of some skiing. There's tons of skiing. I mean, they can even get low level stuff. You just search out, there's families that put their stuff public of kids skiing and them skiing. I mean, it doesn't have to be the high end stuff, but if you're going for level 3 or dev team, there's a lot of skiing out there all the way up through World Cup stuff that's pretty easily to get attainable to go look at. And that's definitely a good avenue I think people should go after.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with a very small collection of videos, you can cover a lot of ground. Like for example, if you're going for level 2 and you have a nice video of somebody doing a medium radius open parallel turns, and you can reference the same video over and over again, like save it to your favorites list on YouTube. You know, Solid run in pretty moderate blue bumps will go a long way for you. Good wedge turns in a video, good wedge Christie in a video, and just with those four, I think you can put together quite a library for yourself if you over and over again get used to them, reference them, look at them, compare people you see on the hill to what you have in your four videos, and then you have a real versus ideal kind of setup going in your head. And I also think that if you do have an office job or if you are a weekender, you can still do movement analysis. You just don't necessarily do it on skiing.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in this lateral idea where if you're good at one thing, you can apply it to other things. And there are videos on YouTube about how walking gaits. There are experts on uh, Daniel Lieberman at Harvard University made a career as an evolutionary biologist by studying the walking gait of Homo sapien. Like, there's video out there. You can look at it. You can read about the walking gait of Homo sapien, and you can watch your coworkers walk. You can go on howto.com or whatever it's called and type in how to sit in a chair, and what is 37-step process for sitting perfectly in a chair with images and everything, and then watch your slouchy coworkers like breaking their own backs in their chair under their own body weight, because spines are all curved. You're like at fast food in one hand. You know what I mean? Like you can do movement analysis from other activities. Watch people walk up steps and how imagine how they'd ski on skis. I know a girl, I have known her for years, and I just noticed the other day in her walking gait, she does her footfall on her right foot on her heel, which is proper walking gait, but her footfall on her left foot is on her forefoot, on her toes. and it's, landing on one heel, on the heel of one foot and the toes of the other. That's her gait. And then I immediately thought, wow, I wonder how that would translate into her skiing, But it's the same physique, it's the same species. So if you can analyze its movement in one setting, it's going to be easier to analyze it in other settings. So if you are
Yeah.
off of your skis Monday through Friday, but you're doing MA on your coworkers as they sit, stand, lean, whatever, it's going to translate to your weekend skiing movement analysis, snowboarding movement analysis.
Yeah, I mean, Chris and I use jump rope when we do our MA sessions. I mean, that's our thing, to try to get people to describe and observe things before they judge and try to put a prescription on how to do it better. And as soon as we put a ski video up, right away the things come out. They're not doing this right. They're not doing that. They're too far back. Everything's wrong. And it's the first thing they say. It's nothing about how they're skiing or are their skis parallel throughout the turn. Do the wedge stay the same size? Do change size? Nothing about do the legs change length? Do both legs extend at the same time or flex at the same time, or do they flex in opposition? There's none of that. It's not enough of this, not enough of that. The whole body twists. It's those fixes where, like you said, if they think of some of these simple things, someone sitting in a chair. I got to look that one up now. I'm going to look that one up of how to sit in the chair 37 ways. We should write an article for the Snow Pro on how to sit in a chair. If you want to learn how to be a ski pro, how do you sit in a chair? But yeah, jump rope is one of those things that's active, and it's one of the easy things that we can show in the beginning of a clinic that's not skiing, but shows some movement and can show a lot of movement or a little bit of movement. And Chris is definitely a lot better at the jump rope thing than I am. He likes to go to the gym, as you and I have spoken earlier podcasts. We don't tend to go to the gym. He likes to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a guy. He lives on a golf course and he doesn't golf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's a conundrum wrapped in an enigma. He's a pickle. He's a veritable pickle.
Oh man, unbelievable.
And I've had the thought from time to time while you do things out in the woods, you go for a little hike, you walk down a steep hill. You ever walk down a steep hill and make an S pattern as you come down the hill, like you're making ski turns down it? You can learn a lot about how to properly come down an incline, and with this many joints in your body as this bipedal species and whatnot. But the whole idea of flexing through transition when you're walking down a hill, changing directions, man, what a great place to learn and build the muscles to do that. And there's a lot of stuff you can do outside of the ski area that'll help with exam prep.
Yeah. Well, and another thing I think that we should mention, that it's high on my list. We'll see what you think. I've seen it a ton in the exams, and it's just in training. You see it at the home mountain. You go out with staff. It's not just exams. It's it's coaching people, training them to get better. You see people struggling with how to lead a group. Struggling to set up a learning environment. It's kind of that they have pieces and they just do pieces. And well, this is the way we did it in the training clinic. And they have a hard time picking a task and staying with it. It'll be like 8 tasks in a row that none relate to each other. And versus picking one thing, like you were talking about 1,000 steps earlier, instead of just thinking of even a beginner who's stepping through a turn. The first turn they do is step through the bottom part, a J turn, and how can you keep working that throughout the whole thing and do the fan? And then when they're starting to have struggle, when you get them to try to link turns together, can you just have them step through turns? Maybe they just, if they're struggling, they get the turn started, or maybe just step to start the turn. You don't have to do it all the way around, but they kind of go away from that. And then all of a sudden it's, something else. They're working on weight transfer or, things that they say, versus you just, instead of coaching somebody, hey, just think about stepping that foot over here. Now, without stepping that foot, just think about releasing that ski like you take a step without taking it off the snow. And then they kind of shuffle around the turn, something like that.
What kind of mystical examiner shit is that?
I mean, come on,
take
man.
a step without taking a step. No, I get it. I'm just sure. Thanks for bringing that 1,000 steps up, by the way. Again.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep going with that one. Pete Howard would be happy.
I had just finally blocked that out. Thanks, appreciate it. What was the question? You had a question.
Yeah. Well, it was if you think that's one of the things. I mean, for me, it's definitely when they take charge of the group, when they take over and lead the group, it becomes not a leading of the group or setting up an environment. It's just like 3 or 4 tasks that they're going to throw out, They have the people ski through, and now the ability to turn the legs under the upper body is fixed because they did these 3 tasks, and nothing was stated to the people of how they did. Were they able to do it? Did they do it well? And then even if they were all able to do it somewhat, you know, could you change the parameters to say, all right, they did that in more of a medium turn realm, that task you had. Well, why don't you do that in a short turn? Or maybe you do it at a different rate. Like say we were going to ski bumps, you know, would they have to do that at a different rate if you were doing something in the absorption world? You know, can they change the learning environment without just going to something totally new? You know, change the speed of what you're doing, or change the intensity or rate or timing, you know, something in the tactical realm that somebody can work on. It's the same thing as changing snow surface. I mean, it's pretty tough. You know, you need to work on turning your legs under your upper body in all different kinds of situations, not just on one trail that's perfectly groomed. Because when I ski bumps or I ski powder, because we skied the big deep powder the other day at Sunday River, I can't wait for that ruler. If I use the ruler that skiers measure the snow in, none of them, if I use that in the wood shop, nothing will fit together.
You'd be 12 feet tall if you measured yourself with it.
Oh my God, it would be crazy. It's definitely hard to put stuff together off of that measuring stick. But the skiing was good. But you know, I think those are the two big things for me in terms of, that's not the only things, but those are the things I see the most.
I get it though. Like, and creating a learning environment is challenging. And I think, like, my experience has been, as I've come up through what I know now, I believe more now than ever that less is more.
Yeah.
And a small change still counts as a change. So if you present an activity to your group and you say, you know, like you said, let's do performance medium radius turns down this, you know, black pitch, right? And then you see what you see. And you can change one variable. Let's try performance medium radius turns down this blue pitch, right? That's a change. Yep. It's as valid a change as going, you know, something like, let's do pivot slips, then let's do, you know, bricage. Like, you know, like you don't have to come to an exam and demonstrate or name every task, you know, and I think, but I understand it, because the situation is this, you know, you go to an exam and you want to leave there with a different color pin. So it makes a lot of sense that you would think you should go there and let the examining crew make them aware of everything, you know. But that doesn't make you pass. What makes you pass is putting together a logical series of activities, you know, and it doesn't even have to be a long series. It can be a couple of things, two or three things, excuse me, one of which may be a change in pitch, you know.
Right.
You put together a couple of things that make sense together and all work toward the goal and are specific to the people in your group and give a little bit of specific feedback. And in my experience, you've just done really well. You know what I mean? But I understand wanting to throw all the spaghetti against the wall and seeing, hoping something sticks. I get it.
Thanks everybody for joining in with the Fall Line with Chaos and Company. Hopefully, if anybody has any questions or maybe you have some comments, you'll throw them on our YouTube channel or throw them on our Facebook pages. And we hope you'll be listening next time.